and welcome to the DoSo Knits YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristen and I'm a knitter and military spouse living in Germany with my family. And if you are returning, thank you so much for stopping by again today for this video. DoSo Knits is my YouTube channel where I share how knitting has interwoven into my life. And today's video is my January stash in and stash out video. So in these videos, I like to share the yarn that I used this month and got out of my stash, usually through finished objects. This month I do have another way I got rid of some yarn or moved some stash out. And then I also like to share with you the yarn that I have brought into my stash. So it's basically kind of a yarn haul video, but also kind of a progress update. So if you're not interested in seeing the types of yarns that I've got this month, then absolutely feel free and skip this video and I will see you around for the next one. And so going into 2021, I do have a slight goal for my stash. Last year I just wanted to track and not necessarily have a goal, but this year I do have a goal. So my goal for 2021 is to keep my stash relatively the same size. So throughout the year, I would like to try to use the same amount of stash as I am bringing in. Obviously, some months will vary if I have a month where I just get a lot, or I'm working on some bigger projects where I don't move as much stash out, but maybe the next month I finish a large project and then don't purchase as much. So hopefully it'll all balance out in the end. I do feel like I spent a lot of 2020 building my stash. I started knitting again in 2020, and so I spent a good amount of time just trying to... I got excited and I bought a lot of yarn, which I'm absolutely okay with. I feel like I have a lot of the basics covered. I have a lot of sock quantities available. I have a couple of sweater quantities as well. Moving forward, I would like to buy sweater quantities when I'm ready to knit a sweater versus me getting some stuff preemptively, because I do not knit sweaters as fast as I think I do. So I don't mind buying a skein of fingering or DK weight here or there because I can use those for hats or socks. But anything that requires more, I think I would like to buy for the projects. Things like shawls or sweaters, I think buying for the projects might be a little better for my brain and how I move about getting a stash. With all that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the stash that I moved out this month. So this January, I feel like I did pretty good. I feel like I finished a good amount of projects and I like it. I'm good. I feel like I am starting in the right direction for me personally. So this month I finished my still water cardigan, and that used 5 skeins of yarn. I also finished my Desert Vista Dye Works Peppermint Hot Chocolate socks, and that also used 1 skein of yarn. I finished a Round and Round cowl, which I used all minis for that project, so it didn't necessarily go toward my total skein count, but it did use some minis that were in my stash. I also finished my Desert Vista Dye Works, a pair of ribbed socks for January 2021, and that used 1 skein. And then I did a pair of heel-toe do-si-do socks with Knit Picks Felici, so that used 2 skeins of yarn because they are 50-gram skeins. So all in all, I knit and used 9 skeins of yarn this month, and gram-wise it was a total of 727 grams of yarn. This month, however, I did de-stash a good amount of yarn. I went through my stash at the beginning of the year when I was counting to get my beginning of the year skein count, And there were just some yarns that I'd bought and that I'd been sitting on, and either plans for them had changed, or a lot of them it was plans for them had changed. I had a sweater quantity in an alpaca yarn, and I didn't want to knit the sweater that I originally bought the yarn for. The alpaca drape would not have worked, so I went ahead and destashed that. I'd also destashed some other skeins that I'd bought to do color work, but they were superwash, and I'd rather do some color work in some non-superwash, so I went ahead and moved those to a new home as well. And then just a couple of other miscellaneous skeins that I wasn't necessarily excited to use, and I figured sending them to a new home, they might get a little more love and made into an object sooner than if they were still sitting in my stash. I still have a couple more that I'm still trying to destash, but this month I did destash 21 skeins of yarn, which I'm glad. It felt like a relief to get them moved out of my stash, because I would look at them and wasn't planning on using them for anything anytime soon. So to me, it felt like a great decision. So all in all, for January, I moved 30 skeins out of my stash and 2,827 grams out of my stash as well, which is pretty good for the month, I think. And now we can get to the little more fun part, the stash that I brought in this month. So let's go ahead and start with the first thing. The first thing I got was some more skeins of some Merino natural yarn. This is from a German store called Das Wollshaf, and Courtney had asked me what I would like for my birthday, and so I asked for enough yarn of this color to do my throw over sweater. I have the 3 colorwork alternating skeins. There are some half 50-gram skeins that I got from Knit Crate, I think last month, and she helped me pick the main color skein, and so I have got 5 more skeins of this color yarn to make that sweater in. I know I just said that I would like to not buy sweater quantities ahead of time, but I'm excited to cast this one on, and honestly, once my weekender is off, this will probably be started very, very soon. I love working with this yarn because I'm using this same yarn in my weekender, just in a gray shade. It is just natural merino. It is not dyed. It is just the coloring of the sheep, and it is lovely to work with. I think it rings in at a worsted or DK weight. I think it's about 200 meters, but I love working with this yarn. So I have 5 skeins of this. So that's the first thing that I got this month. The next thing I got was, my husband ordered me the Homespun House holiday box of hygge, and in that came some pottery, a book, some yarn as well, along with some other goodies like a candle. It was a lovely box, and so the next skein of yarn that I got for that is a skein of gold Stellina fingering in the colorway Candlelight. So this is the skein that came in the box. It's her gold Stellina base, so it's 80% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and then 5% gold Stellina. And I think this colorway is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. And then it also came with a mini skein in a fun little pink color. So I don't know if I will actually use these two together, but I saw this yarn and I almost caked it up immediately, like the day I got it. But I'd already caked up another skein of yarn for a pair of socks, so I decided I would save these for another. But I love this color. I think it is absolutely beautiful, and a Homespun House's yarn is so soft and delightful to work with. So I'm excited to use these as soon as I have the chance. With that, I did buy a couple more skeins from a Homespun house. She had a shop update with some colors, and I'd been eyeing this one for a long time. I went back to her shop multiple times throughout the month of January, but didn't know what I would use this color for. I didn't want to buy a shawl's worth because the color that I really liked, she only had one skein available, so I wanted to find a project, and then I did. So I had shared the Knits About Winter book in my latest podcast, but in here is a pair of mittens and interchangeable mitten liners. So I will show you. These are the interchangeable mitten liners. And then the mittens, you can see here. This book also came in the Homespun House holiday box of Hygge. And I saw these mittens and I definitely wanted to make them because it has been cold here, and I thought the mittens with the liners were absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. And the way she describes the mittens is there's little eyelets, and so you could see your mitten liners inside. And once I found that pattern, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with the yarn. So this is Apple Crisp by Homespun House. It's her non-superwash base, and it's 100% non-superwash merino. So I thought the non-superwash would be absolutely perfect for the mittens. And she only had one skein of this available, and I am so glad I found something to use this for. So I also bought the color Oatmeal for the mittens on the outside. Persephone, I think is what it's called. So these will be the outside of the mittens, with this Apple Crisp being the interchangeable liner. I am absolutely so excited to cast on this project. I was waiting to finish some projects today, and I have finished them for the end of January. And now that I've recorded this video for you guys, I'm probably going to go cake these up so I can start this other project, because I think these are so pretty. I love them so much. Ugh. Let's just stare at them together in some admiration, shall we? How beautiful. I am so excited. So both of these are in the non-superwash base, and I'm out of words. I'm just so excited to start these mittens. So I hope you're ready to see them on the next podcast, because it is happening. Okay, we shall move on. I am sorry for going on so much about these, but I'm so excited, and yay! Okay. The next thing I got this month was my Yarnable box. If you have not seen my Yarnable unboxings, I will link it up above. Yarnable is put on by Hypnotic yarns, and every month you can get 1 or 2 skeins of fingering or DK weight yarn. And this was the January colorway. It was called Wintery Mix, and it is this beautiful green with lighter patches and a purple with blue as well. This color is absolutely gorgeous, and I talk about it a little bit more in my Yarnable video. And it is on her plush sock base, so it's 85% superwash merino and 15% nylon. But yes, this is another skein that is moving into my stash this month. And then finally, the last thing I got this month was my Nora George Harry Potter Blanket Club set of minis for January. This month is called Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, which is very exciting and fun, I think, and the colors represent that quite well. I don't have the individual names of these because she had a little printing error with the pamphlet, but it will be sent out next month with the colors as well. So this moves in as well. With the mini skeins and how I track my stash, I do not count the mini skeins as a full skein, but I am counting the grams, I guess. Yeah, because I think it's a little bit easier. It's kind of hard to figure out how to track the minis because I don't want to log each one individually. All in all, I brought in 9 skeins of yarn this month and 1,000 grams of yarn. And as I'm reading these to you, I am using my January stash in and out printable page that I have made. It is available on my Ko-fi account if you are interested in tracking your stash in and stash out as well in a notebook. So for this month, I have a negative 21 skeins, which equates to, I brought in the same number of skeins that I knit, which is pretty good. And then with me destashing 21 skeins, I have a negative 21 skeins for the month. So if you're interested, I am going to post a little fun template on my Instagram where you can also share the yarn that you brought in and used up this past month. And then if you want, you can share it on your Instagram stories as well. And if you tag me, I can reshare it as well. I think it'll be fun to see what you guys are bringing in and using up every month as well. And so with that, that is all the yarn that I brought in and out this month, but I wanted to share a couple other fun knitting things that I brought in. So I did mention the Knits About Winter book. This was in my A Homespun House Holiday Box of Hygge. This book is by Emily Foden, and it is absolutely beautiful. I talked about it a little bit more on my last podcast episode, and I can't say more nice things about it. It is absolutely beautiful, and I am so excited to knit some projects from this book as some yarns arrive. I also got this month the book by Mina Phillip. This is her new Cowls book. And so in here she uses a knit any gauge technique to let you design cowls with any weight of yarn that you would like. And it has many different options. She does a regular cowl and a tubular cowl so that you can decide exactly what you would like within your cowl. And it's all colorwork designs that were inspired by Persia. And so I opted for the handwritten or the hard copy of the book. And I just want to give you a sneak peek of the different colorwork charts in here. Going to find it. So in here she gives you 10 different motifs available to knit, and like I said, she does it with any gauge available, so you can customize your shawl however you'd like, from fingering all the way up to bulky. And when you buy the book, you do get the the electronic PDF as well, or you can just buy the electronic from either Ravelry or her shop. I still think she has the electronics available. I think she might be out of the hard copy books. But I'm very excited to start a cowl from this. Yeah, I'm very excited. And then finally, I got a couple of project bags. So Join the Stitches had a shop update, and I had been eyeing this bag for a long time, and I'm so glad I was able to snag one. So this is her patchwork bag, and I am in absolute love. It has this patchwork design that's nice and sturdy at the top. It has a zipper right here as well with a pocket, and then on the inside it has this beautiful lining, and I already have some yarn in here because I am about to cast on a new pair of socks and using this bag. So I'm so excited. I was to grab one of these, and it came with this little wristlet as well. I absolutely love this bag. And Join the Stitches, I have a couple of her bags. I love all of them. But when I saw this patchwork one, I knew I had to have it because the quilted fabric just looks amazing. And while I was on there, she had this beauty as well. So this one has little reindeer on it. I love moose and reindeer. They are my favorite animal. Absolutely. Moose are my absolute favorite animal. If I could ever see a moose in person, I will cry. I don't know if I would actually cry, but I want to see a moose in real life. That's my goal. But I also love reindeer, so I had to get this bag. And her prices are such a great price point. I love all of her bags, and the inside of this one is also gorgeous. Gorgeous. So, I can't. How? It's easier when there's yarn inside. There we go. So, I think another project, maybe my mittens, will be moving into this bag throughout the month. And then that is her little tag, and she has one on here as well. And so yes, that is all of the stash and objects that I have brought in for January 2021. I would love to know what stash you guys brought in or used up this month. If you'd like, let me know in the comments below, or pop over to Ravelry and you can grab that little template from my stories and maybe share it over there as well. I'd love to know what you guys are making. And with that, I hope you guys like this video. If you'd like to know when I post future episodes, feel free to hit subscribe or the little notification bell, so that way when I post videos, you will be the first to know. I'm so glad you guys spent a little bit of time with me today. I look forward to seeing you again very soon, and I hope your knitting can hold all the positive memories from your life. And so from my corner of the world to yours, have a great day, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye. I think we can go ahead and move into what stash I used in 2020.